Welcome to today's Quiz Couch podcast. Our next guest has a career journey that once felt stagnant, but then accelerated in ways she never expected. Anita Yadav, a project controls manager, is here to talk about how she learned to treat failures and setbacks as opportunities to rethink, rebuild, and grow. Today, we'll learn why progress is something you create, not something you wait for. Anita, welcome.
Thank you so very much. Thank you. And I'm so pleased to be here. This is my very first opportunity on podcast. So you can imagine how grateful I am to be here with you. So thank you so very much for giving me the platform where I can come and share my experience and add value to other people who might be into similar situation like myself and are struggling to get out of it. So
Thank you. And likewise, we're really happy to have you share with the audience your story, your journey. So, your career journey has been one of highs and lows. Can you share a moment when your career felt completely stagnant and what you did to start creating your own progress?
Sure. So it's I think it is around 2017. So there came a time in my life where I was just in a role for 5 years. And I was trying my best to get out of that role because a person like myself was very passionate and very ambitious about her career. So I was stuck into that role for 5 years. And believe me, out of those 5 years, I spent 3 years applying for jobs, like, whatever was coming. So it was like a scattered gun approach. I was taking everything what was coming, I would just apply, and I was going for interviews, and nothing was working out for me. And I think that's where I felt I had to change something in me. So there were two things which happened at that time. So I was into the role which I didn't like because stagnation means, you're not moving anywhere. You're not moving horizontal. You're not moving vertical. You're just doing day in and day out sort of role, right? And sometimes it can be tedious. So if there is nothing new which is fed to your brain and your soul, then you're not learning. And that's exactly how I felt there. Coming to office every morning, looking into the complaints and, replying to those complaints and going back. There was absolutely nothing. And I wanted to get out of that loop, that vicious circle of every day coming in. And I think the very first thing which I did was I sat down, after these many rejections in the job interviews and everything. I sat down and I asked a question to myself in terms of what do I want to do next? Do I just need another role or do I have a vision? And I think that was the turning point in my life because I had no clarity before that. As I said, I was just using a scattergun approach before. But when I sat down and I started talking to myself in terms of where do I see myself into the next role? Where do I want to go? What's my long-term vision? Where do I want to see myself in the next 5 years? Who do I admire around me that resonates with me? As in, like, oh, I can sit here and think, oh, I want to be like them, or I want to be into that position. So the very first important thing which I did is I got some clarity around what I needed from my life, from my career, from my professional life. And once I sat down and made proper notes. So, that was the point when I started writing about my career journal. So I came up with five career directions. So I want to be this first. Okay, if this doesn't work out, then this. Okay, if it doesn't work out, then this. So I wrote about five jobs with what if it doesn't work out? What if this doesn't work out? And those five directions gave me more clarity in my head. It gave me a vision um, towards that. And once I had better clarity, I then started investing in my skills. So, for an example, when I first started having those career conversations, I reached out to a few people, asking them, okay, if I want to be a business analyst, what sort of skills do I need? And following this conversation with the right people, I started investing in my skills. So I even did a diploma of, within business analyst, analytical role. I was very much interested into operations as well. So I started, hanging with few people within operations to get some on ground knowledge about how the operations of the particular organization was working and everything. So, there were certain skills which I needed. So, for example, public speaking was one of them, communication, influencing, presenting myself. And when I was investing in my skills, there was something which stood out to me, that every moment I was talking to somebody in my network, be it somebody from senior leadership or somebody from other department, I was actually noticed that I was interviewed into those conversations, because the way I was presenting myself, that was leaving an impression onto them. So investing in my skill became the basic fundamentals of what I wanted to do. And again, I built relationship, because when I had those five uh, role profiles,
Yeah.
I then started narrowing down the people who were actually within the same environment, who could actually then help me. And would you believe me, Magda? I had about five mentors at that time from different backgrounds, helping me to build the skills I needed. So I had mentor for my technical skills. From digital side, I had mentor who was helping me to build networks, because they
Yeah.
were like in the organization for a very long time. And I've had mentor who was actually helping me to sharpen my soft skills, and giving me some tricks and tips on how to improve communication, how to better present myself. And then I had another one from HR who was helping me how to reshape my CV, how to get ready for every single job which was coming up. So I had about five mentors at that time, and I don't feel guilty at all, because
Wow.
I had the time, they had the time, but again, it's just me. And I changed my environment again. As I said, they say that if you are hanging out with CEOs, for example, you start thinking about a CEO, right? And if you're hanging out with, teenagers, I'm just using an example to
Yeah.
see how the environment affects,
Yeah.
you start thinking and behaving like a teenager, right? So there, there was a shift of environment as well. So I started surrounding myself with the people, like wise people, that I wanted to transition into. So I started going out, for example, for living drinks of digital team, because one of my aim was to be a business analyst. And when I was within that environment, I got the grasp of the terminology. I got the understanding of the ethos they were functioning in. So I started to change the environment. And I think this change of environment actually gave me a very key skill, and it's called adaptability. So
Yes.
from one environment to another, and from another to the third one, I was quickly adopting the environment, which is the greatest skill for the job change. And I think these are the few things which I did. Of course, building relationship, I cannot stress that, how important it is to have networks, some like networks in different dimensions of your career, so that if something is not working out, you have somebody else who got your back, and you can always go back to them, and you can actually rely on them to be mentors of the moment. Like you have that moment where it's like, who should I ask, and if you have good network, you can always rely. And if there's any opportunity coming up, then they can let you know. And would you believe, the job I am in, that is because of the network. The job I was before that, that was given, like, I was actually headhunted by my mentor. And this is the reason I am a great advocate of having good network around you.
Wow. Do you know everything you've said? It's
Hmm.
like a playbook in itself for how you
Yeah.
can change your life. Because you talked about
Yes.
working, you talked about having intentional mentorship, having five mentors. but each playing a particular role is very powerful to share. And you talked about that
That's
adaptability,
fine.
and that's very important too. This is good. Thank you. And
No problem.
you believe in treating failures and
Mhm,
setbacks as opportunities.
mhm.
How do you shift your mindset from disappointment to opportunity in a moment of professional setback?
Yeah. So, one thing which we all have to understand as professionals is that challenges and disappointments, they actually trigger two things in ourselves. A is the emotional reaction, and then the second thing is the practical reality. So to share an example, I in the year 2000, I think 2022, I was going through the redundancy. I was not made redundant, but sometimes they say, "Oh, you are at the risk of redundancy," right? I
Yeah.
was at the risk of redundancy, and if you imagine, it created an emotional reaction from me. Like, I emotionally reacted as in like, why just me? Uh, what's going to happen next? Because it's the uncertainty. So you feel frustrated because as a human behavior, when you are when you're rejected, the fear of rejection makes you emotionally weak. But the practical reality around it was that if I lose my job, I don't have second one lined up. Who's going to pay the bills? How am I going to keep the lights on? I have a child, I have bills to pay and everything. So that's the practical reality. But again, how I turn that around is I accepted the fact that yes, it is happening. It's out of my control. I cannot do anything about it. What I can do is I can take this opportunity and go wild about it. As in, I know I have to find a job, but why not channelize my energy, my emotions to find a better job than this? And it works out. Would you believe? Because I was like, I was just one step above from my last job. And when I was in the pool of redundancy, I actually got a better job than that. So I was actually promoted. So this is what happens when challenge comes. So you asked me about how to shift the mindset, right? The very first thing which I did, and I suppose it's very recommended, is that you always take a step back before you step forward into these situations when the challenges come or when you're hit by the disappointments. So always, I took a step back again to think, where do I want to go next? What I want to do next in my life? And this opportunity had just came, and I had two ways to deal with it. The first one was just to sit, cry, and mourn about it. The second one was to take the opportunity and channelize all of my energy and emotions into it and find a better job than that. So I took a step back and then took a step forwards. I just took a step back to gather all my emotions, how I was going about it, how I was feeling about it, and then channelized everything to then find a better job. The second thing is asking ourselves. Again, there is a saying, and I'm a firm believer of it, and you must have heard of it as well, Magda, that whatever happens, happens for a reason or happens for good. And that's the belief I was raised, that whatever happens, happens for good. So I think that's the important question, which is really, really needed if we want to change our mindset, if we want to shift the mind. That what is this particular opportunity trying to teach me? What's the best good come out of it? So once we know, then we are more clear in our vision, then we are more clear in what I need next in my life. And again, going back onto the very first thing, which is like third step on it, you can only control what you can control, as in what is within your limit. I absolutely had no power to go and challenge the CEO saying, why are you making me redundant? Well, it was a complete decision I couldn't control. But what I could control is absolutely going back to my networks, finding the best job, what's going on within the industry, and then move back. So, um, I think all of this what I'm trying to explain, that comes down to redefining the narrative, as in, am I the victim or I got this opportunity? So I redefine the narrative, and I think this is how we should be looking at any challenge, disappointment which is coming. We just need to redefine the narrative and come out of that victimized zone and take that as an opportunity. And I think the next thing, which is very important again for females like ourselves, is we are not forward thinkers, as in we don't have long vision like men do. And that is something which I learned from my male mentors, that when they were talking about, they were always talking about their long vision. Whereas females, we just talk about tomorrow. We don't talk about day after tomorrow. We don't talk about, you know, m- 2 months down the time, because the natural psychology of women is that we love to live in the moment, which is fine again. But I think we need to be more forward thinkers, and that's something which I changed through this challenging environment. That I started to become more, more visionary
Yeah.
long term.
One thing that stayed with me is that mindset change about a situation gives you power over that situation because you're defining how you see it and how you
Mm-hmm.
address it. But it cuts across every aspect of our lives, isn't it? So what you shared is
Uh-uh.
really powerful. And your key message is to own your journey with courage and intention. So what does it mean to you to be fearless when things stall?
Mhm. So I I say this to everybody. So I'm a mentor now, and I have about four young people whom I'm mentoring, and they are at the stage. So a couple of them just were on the grad scheme within my old company, and of course I'm a mentor in women's in utilities network as well. And of course, one thing which I tell them is that you are the owner of your destiny. You are your own creator. So you should own your own career journey as well. Because most of the time, again, I'm just going back in the days when I started my career. We always thought that giving the opportunity to me as like promotion opportunities was the responsibility of my manager, because they will talk good things about me when anything comes up, and then I'll be placed into the role. But no, the world has changed. This doesn't happen anymore, and we all have to own up to our career journey, because we know where we want to go, and it is the ownership lie on us. There are so many people out there who still believe that, oh, my manager should know all about the good work which I have done, but this doesn't happen. And believe me, this still happens in a very small organizations where people have been trying to be loyal to those organizations. And I don't feel that that's a wrong thing, but what I feel is that when we give our career developments or our personal developments responsibility to other person, we do not know which direction it's going to land. It doesn't guarantee the movement at all or progression at all. So we can be stagnated. We can be into that one role for a number of years and may end up retiring from there. So in today's date and time, I think people should very much take the responsibility of their own career journey, and there comes the courage. So when I talk about courage and fearless, being fearless, what I mean by that is take risks in your life. What's the worst could happen? What's the worst could happen? And I think I have a very, very beautiful tagline, which I go by, that is, the worst which can happen in your life is that the job which you are going for, you're just going to hear no. That's the worst can happen. Nothing worse can happen. So always go for an opportunity, and there's nothing worse can happen. So take the risk, go for it. Because if you don't go for it, you wouldn't know if you get it or not get it. And that's where I learned. And again, I'm sorry, Magda, if you feel that I'm actually talking from a female lens, but take an example of applying for jobs, right? The studies suggest or say that if there is a job application in the market, and we have a male and female, and a female, if she's not fully satisfied that she ticks all the boxes, she's not going to apply for it. Whereas a male is very high likely going to apply for it as long as he's just meeting 30% of the requirement. That's where the risk taking comes place. Because we females, we want to play safe and we are not like risk takers. So that's what fearless means. Don't be afraid of being like failures, or don't be afraid of hearing a no. It's fine. It's not the end of the world. You just figured out one route that doesn't work for you.
I agree with you, Anita. And
Yes,
we've talked about, highs and lows of our careers. We've talked about treating failures and setbacks as opportunities. And you've now shared how you can own your journey with courage and intention. So,
yes.
for the benefit of the audience, how do you manifest the direction you want in a practical sense? And what are the actions behind that intention?
So the greatest thing which comes with manifesting is that and again I would have loved to add at that point to our previous question is that we worry too much about figuring out everything. And
Yeah.
I personally don't think that there is a need for us to figure out everything, as in like how it's going to work out. Well, let's leave few things as unknown, right? And take uncertainty as an opportunity. So that is what I would say helps when it comes to deciding the direction. So, we always want to walk the path where somebody else has already walked on it. So we do not want to create a new path for ourselves, because again, that brings back to the point that, oh, we want to figure out that everything's working. So we want to go safe. So first of all, when we are manifesting about the vision, it's clarity is the most important thing. And when I say clarity, I'm not saying that you must know everything about your vision, as long as you have a direction. So for an example, I want to be a CEO of a company. I'm just making it up as an example.
Yeah.
I know that this is my vision. I'm clear. I want to be a CEO of a company. I don't have to figure out I want to be a CEO of a digital company, a tech company, a water company, a project program management company. That's the vision, right? The rest will come along. So we should have a vision in terms of what I want to become. And the second thing is then you start like if we have a vision, eventually when we manifest it, that, oh, I want to be CEO, I want to be CEO, unconsciously, we start aligning our behavior to our vision. So for an example, take yourself, you want to be a the best, best presenter, right? Slowly, you start believing into that thing and you start aligning your behaviors with that. And once the behaviors are aligned, you then start assuming that you're already there. Yeah. So once you align your behaviors, then you create the momentum again with the small things. So I am 100% sure that before you take in on this role, you must have practiced in front of the mirror about, the questions you're going to ask, the rehearsals and everything. And those are the short-lived momental moments where you actually start creating your r- like imagination into reality. So that works for me as well. Again, I am a very firm believer of affirmation and manifestation, and talking to ourselves and being kind to ourselves. And again, I have worked really hard on myself as well,
You
because
have.
I yes, because I have to own my own
Yeah.
journey. And I think the most important action for, manifesting the vision and um, how everything looks like in practice is, of course, surrounding ourselves with people who elevate us. That's the most important thing, because if we are not into that environment, then we are not going to change. It's all about energies, and it's all about, you know, we exchanging the energies from the like people. So that's the action. And then, of course, investing into the skills, learning everything, learning new every day. Well, if we can, but if not, then yeah, learning, investing our time into something new which we have never done before. And the most important thing, again, out of what I've said, is acting as if it is already yours.
Yeah, that's powerful.
That's
Start living in the reality of your dream,
yes,
of your
yes,
vision.
yes,
Uh,
exactly.
Thank you.
Mm.
For the woman whose career feels stuck right now, what is the first step she can take? Again, it's not only about women.
I think the very first thing, again, from my experience, what anybody who is feeling stagnated into their career should do is spend at least 1 hour with them. That's the minimum, to understand what is not working at the moment with them, why they feel they're stagnated, and where they want to go from there. Because if we can work onto these, you know, all W's and hows sort of thing, we will have a better understanding, a better clarity. And I highly recommend the using online tools. So now in this day and time, there's lots of help available. So I I recommended this to one of my mentee, and there's like, 5 step, it's a 5 step guide which says, what are your strengths, where do you want to see yourself, what's your vision, what do you like the most. So there are lots of free tools available. I think it's called career quantum, something like this. So you go online and try to get some self-help around how to be clear using these tools which are available. And once they have the clarity, then they start working on how bit how to get there, and be courageous about this, making that possible, finding the right people who fit into those boxes who are going to actually make that happen for you, right? That's the second thing. Then living it is the most important thing, living into it. So I want to be a CEO. I behaving like I'm already there. So I think you just have to create the opportunity for yourself sometimes. And yeah. So that's what I would do. First of all, important, get a clarity around what they want to do next. And then find the team, find the people, find the mentors, find the coach, find a team who's actually gonna make them happen that thing for them. So because teamwork is a dream work. And that's what I always say. That's why I had 5 mentors that I called it my team. And of course, then be proactive. That's the most important thing. Be proactive. Go on LinkedIn, make connections, network, like anything, anything. When I say anything, like anything. And um, be be visible. Be out there so that people can notice you, that you are there. And you know, don't be shy. Again, don't be shy. When we want to change, we don't want to sit and let the change happen by itself. We just need to go out there and be visible. So if you're looking, if my message to all the females who are listening to this and feel stagnated is that once you have vision, once you know the role you want to go for it, go and ask for it. Just go, because I have asked for the roles as well, that, oh, I want to do this role. How can I, prepare best for the interview? So it's being courageous there and making it possible. there happen, and being proactive there. Because when you're proactive, you are already one step ahead of the rest of the candidates who are interested in that job, spending some time with that team. That's what I did, knowing the environment again, hanging around with the people from that team, and be visible, and blow your own trumpet. Sometimes
Yes.
it is so important. Blow your own trumpet, highlight your achievements, what you have done, and then, of course, get it, make it happen. That's all I can say. Be
I,
wild, make it happen.
yeah. Owning your narrative, owning your story, owning your journey.
Yes, yes, own it. Leave a legacy.
Yes. Thank you so much for this powerful reminder that we have the power to shape our own journey.
Yeah.
And your story shows us that progress isn't always linear, but it is
Mhm.
always possible when we own it with courage and intention.
Definitely, definitely. And I think as females, we just have to come out from that loop. Oh, what that person is going to think of me. Well, believe me, after 2 years, they're not even going to remember your name. Don't, no, this is the fact. Trust me, I can tell you so many examples. I recently walked into my office and I bumped into a female who worked for me a long time ago. Like she was in my team and I was the team leader. And now she's at one level up than me. So it's we live in such a small world that if we start caring about other people, that then we will be left behind, and we don't want to be left behind.
Yeah, I love this.
So
Thank you so much.
no problem at all. Thank you. So never become I wish.
Yes, that's true. Make sure you're ticking all the boxes you have for yourself. Thank you, Anita. So, to our listeners, may you have the courage to turn your next setback into your greatest setup. Thank you for joining us on the Queen's Couch podcast, where we honor real stories, amplify bold voices, and celebrate the extraordinary in every woman. Be sure to subscribe, share this episode with another queen who needs to hear it, and follow us on our social media platforms for more. Remember, your crown is waiting. Claim it unapologetically. Until next time on the Queen's Couch, keep rising, keep reigning, stay royal. Thank you.